CBS Friday.
Freezing rain continues in the overnight and lingers into tomorrow morning. I'll have all the details you need for your morning commute coming up next.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lily Simmons. Tonight on your WZMQ 19 News, over the weekend, no Kings protests happened across the country and across the state. Our Michigan Capitol correspondent reports from Lansing. And March is Problem Gambling Awareness Month. We'll show you how Michigan's Gaming Control Board is working to prevent gambling addiction among teens and kids. Plus, the Ordock Brewing Company's Festival of the Angry Bear is making its return in just a few weeks. We'll have all the details about this year's event. Your 19 News at 11 starts now.
Live from the UP, this is WZMQ 19 News at 11.
First look at your forecast. We'll see a little bit of everything in terms of precipitation for tomorrow, but we have to have that meeting point in the middle where they mix, and that ice is very likely going to be into the Marquette area. We'll see some snow up towards Eagle Harbor, rain down to the southern portions. Temperatures will be ranging, but the most important aspect is we could have some freezing rain, which will make those roadways slick and icy for your morning commute. I'll break down those details and a look at the rest of your week in just a few minutes.
Tonight, a Rapid River man is facing multiple felony charges after a traffic stop over the weekend. On Sunday, a state police trooper on patrol in Garden Township spotted a man who had an active arrest warrant riding a bicycle. The man, identified as 28-year-old Michael Riggers, initially ignored the trooper's commands to stop his bike. He then rode to a nearby residence before complying and was then arrested for the warrant. Investigating troopers discovered Riggers was carrying a concealed pistol without a license. He was also in possession of methamphetamine as well as prescription drugs that were not prescribed to him. During a search of his home, police seized additional methamphetamine, another pistol, 14 long guns, one of which had been reported stolen 10 years ago. Today, Riggers was arraigned on charges of possession of methamphetamine, carrying a concealed weapon, maintaining a drug house, possession of analogs, and resisting and obstructing a police officer. He's set to appear in court again on April 9th. The Michigan State Police is warning of a scam targeting elderly individuals through fear and impersonation tactics. In a recent case in the Upper Peninsula, a scammer targeted an elderly woman, saying her computer had been hacked. The caller then directed her to provide personal information to verify her identity under a threat that a federal agent would come to her house if she didn't comply. The state police are reminding people that government agencies do not request personal information or money in that manner. If you receive a similar request, stop all communication with the scammer making that request. Do not give any money or give out personal information, and contact your local MSP post or law enforcement agency if you have any questions. Tonight, during its regular monthly meeting, the Marquette City Commission received a report on damages sustained to the Cinder Pond Marina due to recent storms. They also had some news that could disappoint residents who regularly park on the street. Our John Truitt has the details.
The city of Marquette is still feeling the effects from the recent blizzard earlier this month. The storm caused extensive damage to the marina, as well as to the gas dock, which is the only such facility between Munising and Big Bay. Marquette City Manager Karen Kovacs says funding for the project is already in the works.
The city is applying for the DNR Waterways grant, and this would allow us to rebuild Cinder Pond Marina for the next generation of it, which was already something that was looking to be scheduled regardless of the damage, but the damage that we incurred, or that the marina incurred this past storm, really solidifies the need to rebuild that structure.
The marina remains locked in ice, making it difficult to fully assess the damage. Until conditions improve, details on dock repairs will remain uncertain. But no matter the extent of the work ahead, one thing is clear: boating season will go on.
There will be a 2026 boating season. That is a separate issue. We are working on that, but the long-term, rebuild of that marina with newer infrastructure is something we look for some grant funding for.
The Cinder Pond Marina is 31 years old and well beyond its 20-year expected life. so replacing it is no surprise. Now, back on dry land, you'll have to wait a little longer to park your car overnight on Marquette streets, as the winter parking ban is being extended.
Because of some of the needs that we still have in clearing out those snowbanks and some of those more narrow streets, we need to take care of those, and not having those vehicles on the street at night is really helpful for that.
Just pushing it back 15
Just pushing it back by 15 days.
In Marquette, John Truitt, WZMQ 19 News.
Over the weekend, peaceful protests took place in cities across Michigan and across the country. In Lansing, thousands gathered outside the state capitol, the largest Snow Kings gathering in the state so far. Our Michigan Capitol correspondent Sophia Murphy shows us what that turnout looked like.
The sound of chants and cheers echoed through downtown Lansing as thousands gathered at the state capitol Saturday.
We probably had 25,000 people here in Lansing when everybody could have gone to the one right in their own town. Yeah, the energy was amazing. People were very engaged. The march covered both ends. It was just streaming for a whole hour here.
Crowds filled the Capitol lawn with people packed shoulder to shoulder. Speakers throughout the day expressed concern that federal policies are not helping as many Americans as intended. Others pointed to rising costs, saying they felt it in everything from groceries to insurance.
At least 30% was here for the first time ever, have never been to a protest before. And that's because people are getting engaged and activated.
That first-time turnout was easy to see, with families, students, and retirees standing side by side. Some traveled from other parts of the state, choosing to come to Lansing despite events closer to home. Organizers said this year's crowd was significantly larger than last year, a sign, they say, of growing engagement.
This group spent countless hours every single day sharing their talents and their times in order to make this event happen, just because they know it was the right thing to do.
Volunteers helped to direct foot traffic, staff first aid stations, and hand out information.
We were split into so many signal chats, I honestly can't tell you exactly how many people volunteered to help this happen, but I know it was over 100 volunteers.
Throughout the day, speakers emphasized community, encouraging people to stay involved. While views varied, many shared a common message, a desire to be heard and to have a say in the country's direction. From Michigan's capital, Sophia Murphy, WZMQ 19 News.
Today, Governor Gretchen Whitmer made a trip to Detroit to discuss affordable housing in Michigan and her legislative efforts to build even more. CBS's Alicia Bergio reports.
Since 2019, we've helped build or fix more than 12,000 affordable homes across Detroit.
Governor Gretchen Whitmer committed to keeping that momentum going. On Monday, the governor and state leaders made a stop at a newer apartment building off Winder Street, pushing the importance of affordable housing.
The average first-time homebuyer now is 40. They have to make almost $100,000 a year. There's just not enough housing, and what is available is just too expensive.
While the governor says the state has made progress and exceeded its goal of building 75,000 attainable homes a year, more needs to be done.
In our state, we're still about 119,000 units short of where we need to be for today's population. So we still have a lot of work to do.
The governor now calling on the legislature to create a state affordable housing tax credit and collaboration to cut the red tape involving zoning. The goal? To build more homes and bring down the cost.
Right now, we are the only state in our region without a state housing tax credit. This could create an additional 2,600 additional housing units every single year.
This is not a crisis that's unique to Michigan. It is not one that will be solved overnight, but man, we're making great headway and we can't slow down now.
Across the nation, March is recognized as Problem Gambling Awareness Month. Here in Michigan, the state's Gambling Control Board is sharing information on how to make informed decisions about gambling.
According to the Michigan Gaming Control Board, gambling becomes problematic when it begins to disrupt or damage someone's life, whether financially, personally, or professionally. Problem gambling can affect people of all backgrounds, income levels, and experience, and it can show up in a variety of ways: chasing losses, being unable to stop, hiding bets from loved ones, and gambling as a form of escapism. The Michigan Department of Health and Human Services offers support for those actively dealing with problem gambling through the Problem Gambling Helpline. The Gaming Control Board works to provide education, awareness, and preventative resources. Its website, don'tregretthebet.org, was recently expanded to offer even more support for those who need it. The site features information on how to identify problem gambling, understanding risk factors, how to get help, and ways to support someone struggling. Website visitors will also find new educational content, answers to frequently asked questions, and direct links to confidential support services. With gambling becoming more popular and an increase in advertisements for virtual betting platforms, children have more exposure to gambling than ever. Research shows that children introduced to gambling by the age of 12 are 4 times more likely to develop a gambling problem later on. And kids who gamble before turning 18 are twice as likely to experience problem gambling as adults. So the website has a new youth section with information for parents, guardians, teachers, and community leaders. People struggling with problem gambling often don't seek help due to feelings of shame or a fear of being judged. The Gaming Control Board says Don't Regret the Bet is all about stigma-free support, and that the more conversations about problem gambling are normalized, the more comfortable people will be in seeking the help that they need.
Your first warning weather forecast is after the break. Plus, we'll tell you what's in store for this year's Festival of the Angry Bear in Marquette. And later, we'll head to Washington for the latest details on the partial government shutdown and how it's impacting air travel. Stay with us.
19 News is brought to you by Kirkish Furniture.
Live outside Marquette County? Every day, recycling is free at Recycle 906. Bring your cans, cardboard, plastics, and more. One day, one trip, a cleaner Upper Peninsula. See what we accept at recycle906.com.
It starts with one player, one ticket, one growing jackpot, until someone wins. Jackpot! Instantly. Fast cash, only from the Michigan Lottery.
Hard Rock is a name built to last. Michigan knows something about that. The Hard Rock Bet Casino app, that's built on trust too. So what you see when you sign up is actually what you get.
Don't believe it? Try the app yourself. If you're not up after 24 hours playing slots, then you get up to $1,000 back to play again.
Wants to get 200 bonus spins to play Huff and More Puff. Wins paid in cash. No catch.
Hard Rock Bet Casino is here, Michigan. Roll with us.
Download the Hard Rock Bet Casino app today.
She's been pushed in front of a moving train, bludgeoned, and drowned. It's Kate Mara. I forgot how many times I've died, but thank you for the reminder. Imperfect Women, it's based on a book, right? Yes, my character is dead at the beginning of the show.
And Raheem Devon, plus podcaster Brittany Broski. She and A-list guests dress in medieval capes.
It's absurd. How about this? You come on my show and I humiliate you.
The Kelly Clarkson Show, tomorrow at 5 on WZMQ CBS.
We know that everybody loves me. We also know that everybody loves Raymond. But did you know everybody loves his brother and his wife and his parents too? It's a family everybody can love.
Everything you could want in one show.
Weeknights on MeTV 19.1. Escanaba reporter Lily Simmons on WZMQ 19 News. Now, WZMQ TV 19 First Warning Weather with meteorologist Kelly Rowland.
Welcome back. We are going to have kind of a snowy pattern, an icy pattern for the next few days, especially to close out this month and into this upcoming month here. The average is 40 for the high right now. We're definitely going to be into the 30s, upper 30s and 40s range. So today was actually not too bad for us. 45 degrees, didn't see any rain, didn't see any snow, maybe a little bit, but officially didn't count too much, maybe just a trace. We'll definitely see a better opportunity for some more rain and snow over the next few days or so, especially in the overnight. We'll see that rain snow mix starting to continue to develop, especially out to the Newberry, Sault Ste. Marie area. Most of that should clear out, but then we are looking at another round just before the morning commute where we'll see rain to the south, that mixing in the middle going to be from really the Marquette area, the central portions right here, just the surrounding counties. You'll see that mix, and then as you get up towards Houghton, Copper Harbor, Eagle Harbor, you'll get more of that snow component. So the mixing of the two air masses, that battle between the cold and the warm, kind of of happens right over top of us, so we have that opportunity for a glazing of ice, because also even if we get something as rain down to the southern portions, if we have that colder air behind it, then we could see some of the icy roadways as a result of it. Maybe not freezing rain, but just rain that is kind of freezing in the process of just going through the day. So it's going to be cloudy, it's going to be a little bit cold for most of us, and we could see that ice to deal with for tomorrow morning. We get a little bit of a break from all the wintry mix of a mess for your Wednesday, but then we'll have another round where we could see more ice for Thursday night going into Friday. So just focusing on that one system at a time, but I did put it all the way to Thursday morning just to show you that glaze of ice that's pretty possible. Even if you don't see the pink, we still could have a few hundredths of an inch of ice down towards places like Escanaba and down to Menominee. So the biggest component with these systems, because we're going to see most of that mixing for our area, is going to be the freezing rain. And that's also sometimes too, if I put on the snow outlook, the minute you get a liquid component mixed in here, it's not going to register as just snow. So this tells me right here with the lack of snow that it is going to have that watery component where we could see some ice, because this is just the snow outlook. But then Thursday is a different story, especially Wednesday night going into Thursday morning. That tells me too, we see that big change here, that maybe Thursday going to be more of that snow starting out and then transitioning to a wintry mix ending as rain. So the biggest thing you need to know is the overnight tonight, and then another round of that ice on Thursday. Also in the night sky, maybe too cloudy to see, but we do have a full moon coming up. It's the pink moon to signify the bloom of the new spring flowers. Doesn't really feel like it with all the cold temperatures and the rain and the snow, but that is going to be 10:12 p.m. the pink moon on this Wednesday. Also the day for Passover, we'll see some more freezing rain for Thursday. And as we get towards the weekend, we have Easter Sunday going to be on the cold side of things, probably going to see some snowflakes flying around and then drying things out and rebounding temperatures to start off this week ahead.
Thanks, Kelly. The Core Power Sports 2026 XC Season Championship Snowmobile Race took place over the weekend in the Keweenaw, featuring some of the fastest sleds in the Midwest. Dozens of riders competed in 6 races throughout the Houghton area, allowing spectators an up-close and personal experience. Racers in a wide variety of age classes competed on the 8-mile-long track. The gathering of some of the best racers, along with record-setting snowfall, made this year's race one of the best in years. After a year of hibernation, Festival of the Angry Bear returns to Marquette's Ordock Brewing Company in less than 2 weeks. WZMQ 19's Andrew Hands has more on what to expect this year.
Following the absence of the 2025 Angry Bear to put more focus into its building expansion, the Ordock Brewing Company is happy to bring back the beloved festival in April.
With all of that happening, we just wanted to really make sure we executed that well.
The festival returns with 6 live bands and 2 DJ sets, 20 drinks on tap, and 6 food trucks on site, utilizing both front and back spaces of the brewery.
That is probably the biggest new thing this year. We're really excited to be able to utilize and just enhance that space for everybody.
This year, wristbands will be required for entry. These and all other Angry Bear necessities can be purchased at either the gate or in the brewery's pre-sale party on April 3rd.
An Angry Bear pre-party. We're going to be doing raffle giveaways. I think we have about 10. It's free to attend, but everybody who comes will get 1 raffle entry. And then, if you already have your wristbands and everything, that's kind of going to be your fast pass into the festival.
Next to the pre-party, 3 separate events will also take place prior to the main event. These include a Flower Crown workshop, Baby Bear at the UP Children's Museum, and the return of the Angry Bear 5K. The brewery says on Saturday afternoon to expect a familiar schedule.
Every year we say it definitely takes a village to make this happen. People can kind of look forward to a similar festival as every other year, but yeah, we're really excited to be bringing this back. I think the community is really excited as well. Everybody missed it last year, including us.
The return of Angry Bear will kick off on Saturday, April 11th at 3 p.m. In Marquette, Andrew Hands, WZMQ 19 News.
Coming up after the break, we'll check in with our Washington, D.C. correspondent to get the latest on the partial government shutdown and what effects airports are experiencing because of it. That's next.
Watch the Medical Minute, Thursdays at 6 and 11, only on 19 News. Brought to you by OSF Healthcare.
It's big.
It's the Mega Madness Sale at Slumberland.
Get up to 50% off list prices.
Pay no interest for up to 60 months on select purchases with approved credit.
Get this Ashley leather sofa and the rocker recliner, a 2-piece set for just $9.79.
Get this Ashley sofa for just $3.99.
Or a comfy two-piece sectional for just $8.99.
Mega deals in every department.
Plus, a Sealy Queen mattress for just $4.99.
No one sells Sealy for less.
The Mega Madness sale at Slumberland.
Getting ready, we all have our routine. Finding an outfit. Fixing your hair. And all the other little touches. Gum, check. Keys, check. Phone, check. But of all the things you remember to bring with you, naloxone could be the most important. It can reverse an opioid overdose. You can get it without a prescription in most states, and it's really easy to use. If you or someone you know is at risk for opioid overdose, naloxone could save their life. Keep it on you and at home. For more information about naloxone, visit cdc.gov/stop-overdose.
Planes, trains, and Broncos. Kick up your spurs and set a spell with the fine folks of Gunsmoke, Bonanza, the Rifleman, and Wagon Train. Go west, young man. Go west.
Weekdays beginning at 1 p.m. on MeTV 19.1. You're watching WZMQ 19 News, live and local, with Lily Simmons.
In Washington, a partial government shutdown is heading into yet another week. This after a breakdown in Congress left funding for the Department of Homeland Security in limbo. With a lot of work still to be done, most lawmakers have left Washington and are now back at home for their 2-week spring recess. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Brendan Scanlon reports tonight from a quiet Capitol Hill.
The gridlock on Capitol Hill is deepening after the Republican-controlled House rejected a Senate GOP plan to fund most of the Department of Homeland Security late last week. Thursday evening and into the early hours of Friday, the Senate unanimously passed a measure to restore DHS funding.
The bill's amended is passed.
But without money for immigration and customs enforcement and parts of Customs and Border Protection. However, ICE and CBP are already operating with additional funds from the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. By Friday, House Republican leaders said they would not take up the bill, opting instead for a short-term funding extension to fully fund DHS through late May.
It shouldn't be a surprise to anybody that we would not be able to do that. We're not going to split apart two of the most important agencies in the government and leave them hanging like that. We just couldn't do it.
It was a public rejection of the Senate's bipartisan deal from one night earlier. Senate Democrats now calling the House's short-term funding measure dead on arrival.
You had a deal here where both sides were going away with something they didn't get. The Democrats weren't getting the changes to ICE that they wanted, and the Republicans weren't getting the changes to the voting regulations that they wanted. And then it went to the House and it all fell apart.
However, many TSA agents are finally starting to get paid for the first time in weeks, following an order last week from President Trump. But with no agreement in sight and lawmakers away on spring recess, no clear timeline on just how long the partial shutdown could last.
This has the probability of going on as long as Donald Trump can find other pools of money that he can backfill for the TSA.
Reporting in Washington, Brendan Scanlon, WZMQ 19 News.
And as the partial shutdown continues, many travelers are feeling uncertain as they prepare to board flights. CBS's Hannah McGilly reports from the Detroit Metro Airport.
TSA officers could be receiving long overdue paychecks, but some travelers at DTW still arrived hours earlier, unsure of how fast security lines would move.
I thought I was going to be a long line. I'm here a little early. I'm here plenty before 2 hours before.
Despite long wait times at other airports, a DTW spokesperson told me their security wait time is only 5 minutes. A relief for travelers like Mike Thiefels, who was preparing to be standing around here for hours.
I don't think I've seen it this empty in a long time. I used to work for TSA. And I fly a lot, and yeah, I was not expecting this.
This is what the airport looked like a little before 9:30 a.m. Security lines were close to empty. Haley and Justin Suggs are headed to Toronto for a concert. They got to the airport just an hour before their flight.
I'm happy. Like a regular day to me, honestly. Yeah. So it doesn't even feel like a
government shutdown is even happening, at least not at this airport.
Not at our airport, so I don't know about everybody else's airport.
After weeks of working without pay, President Trump ordered emergency pay for TSA officers. Mike Alexander says he's a frequent flyer. Last week, he headed to Tucson. Monday, he was catching a flight to Orlando before heading back to the Midwest to watch Michigan compete in the Final Four in Indianapolis. He says TSA workers who've stayed on have been wonderful.
But I'll tell you what, they deserve a nice big bonus. If I owned it, the TSA, they'd all be getting $1,000 or $2,000 bonus. They worked extra hard to keep all of us moving, and they deserve more than just a regular paycheck for what they've put up with lately.
DTW says TSA is operating normally here. They're advising passengers to arrive 2 to 3 hours earlier before their flights.
The United States Education Secretary recently visited a Lower Michigan community. She discussed a new program she says will improve the literacy rate here in Michigan and gave her thoughts on the governor's education strategy. CBS's Terrell Bailey has the details.
The Secretary of Education is touting a new federal program created by the Trump administration. According to the federal government, the scholarship program is aimed at improving literacy rates among children nationwide.
For too long, many young Americans have been shackled in inadequate schools and underperforming schools where they fail to reach proficiency in math and in reading.
Education Secretary Linda McMahon is spotlighting a new federal program. The Education Freedom Tax Credit allows people who donate to student education to receive a tax break of up to $1,700. The credits would begin starting next year.
The money goes into the scholarship granting organizations. The parents apply there, and the money is then given to the parents for whether or not they want to move a child or whether or not they want to procure some of these other services.
Secretary McMahon says in order for this program to benefit Michiganders, the governor needs to opt in. Right now, the education secretary says more than 20 states are participating.
Boys are behind girls in reading at every age. Michigan is 44th in fourth grade reading. 44th. This is a serious problem.
The governor would choose the list of scholarship granting organizations. Most recently, Governor Whitmer stated that she's looking for additional information about this federal program.
Governor Gretchen Whitmer has called it, at this point, and I quote, a high-level talking point, dismissing the critical support these scholarships will provide.
There have been concerns over whether or not funding would be directly funneled into private schools. According to Secretary McMahon, the program wouldn't pull money from public schools, but instead add new funding.
Kids will be able to apply for scholarships through this program, whether they're in private schools or public schools.
Meanwhile, the Detroit Federation of Teachers is skeptical of the program. In a statement sent to our team, they said in part, quote, "This $1,700 credit falls far short of covering tuition, transportation, and hidden costs, while this voucher program only widens equity gaps, especially for students with disabilities in underfunded public schools." Now, even without state participation, you can still donate. According to Representative Hall, the money would then go to states that are a part of the program. We did reach out to Governor Gretchen Whitmer's office for comment about this situation. They told us they are awaiting tax guidance from the federal government.
Kelly has one last check of the forecast right after this.
Hard Rock Bet Casino is here, Michigan. Roll with us.
On Hard Rock Bet, what you see when you sign up is actually what you get. 200 bonus spins. That means you get 200 chances to win real cash. If you're not up money after your first day playing slots, you get up to $1,000 back for another shot. Play again with a casino bonus on us. Roll with Michigan's newest casino app, where we put promos in bright lights and say it loud. No gimmicks.
Every year, 800,000 children are reported missing. That's one child every 40 seconds. It's every parent's worst nightmare. Right now, there are 483 missing children cases still open. Your card donation can help keep kids safe and bring missing kids home. Donate your unwanted card today. Fast, free pickup, 24-hour response. Plus, you'll get the maximum tax deduction.
Call 800-671-9020.
Pure Outdoor is the first program dedicated to increasingly popular outdoor and eco sports. Individual and adventurous. Journey to the world's most exotic, breathtaking locations. Pure Outdoor.
Sophia Murphy reports at 6 and 11 on WZMQ 19 News.
Automakers never stop thinking about your safety. When they discover a safety defect, they issue a safety recall and cover the cost of repairs. It doesn't matter how old your vehicle is or if you're not the original owner. All you need to do is bring it in. Do your part by checking for safety recalls at checktoprotect.org.
I'm Sophia Murphy at the Capitol in Lansing, only on WZMQ 19 News.
Final check of your forecast as you start to plan your Tuesday. Plan for some icy roadways, especially for the morning commute. We're going to see some of that freezing rain, especially into the Marquette area. Those temperatures going to be into the lower 30s, maybe getting some rain throughout the afternoon, but just make sure to take it slow with that ice for us. We'll see more of that snow component up to the northern portions and keeping things at mostly rain down towards Iron Mountain, Iron River, Escanaba. Going to just be a battle of the air masses, but because of that mixing, we could get a good opportunity for a little glaze of ice. That means walking to your cars in the morning, got to take it slow. Might have to leave some time just to be extra cautious on the roadways. We could see, it's going to be hard to see at times. Increased accident risk, of course, with black ice. So slow down, try to avoid sudden movements and try to avoid cruise control. That's mainly a morning commute issue. We should see most of that clearing out, just turning to all rain by the evening. And we'll get another round of a wintry mix for another opportunity for some ice for Thursday going into Friday.
Thanks, Kelly. Finally tonight, a Marquette teacher and published mystery author celebrated the release of his latest book over the weekend. Saturday morning at Velodrome Coffee, Adam Dompierre launched the second installment of his Eddie London mystery series. He signed copies of the book, took photos with readers, and handed out bookmarks to those who stopped in to check out his latest work, which is titled This Fell Sergeant.
Eddie London is a quick-witted and slightly incompetent private eye in 1980s California, and a young woman shows up at his office. Her boyfriend has taken a fatal fall off a balcony, and the police have kind of closed the case on it, but she thinks there's more to the story, that something sinister has happened.
This Fell Sergeant is available now on Amazon, and Dompierre says a third installment of the series is already in the works. Thanks for joining us on your 19 News at 11. Kevin Hodge will be back tomorrow, and he'll see you right here at 6/5 Central.
Update your home with new GE appliances from Kirkish Furniture and Houghton. GE appliances are built to last, have print-resistant finishes, and offer high performance with energy efficiency. Kirkish has a large selection for both kitchen and laundry. Free delivery and 0% financing.
Closed captioning sponsored by Range Bank of Upper Michigan.
It starts with one player, one tip.